So basically, what I said was we transitioned the v4 into the main domain, so prism.ag. The old stuff is still available if you go to v3.prism.ag. So if you want to go to the staking page or your history page, stuff like that, you can still go there. The old Prism Pro is also on the same domain, pro.prism.ag. And we're basically will be transitioning all of those features into prism.ag domain. So trading, DCA, swap, bundles. Bundles is a pretty good functionality that I'm going to kind of quickly talk about really in a few minutes. But also what I said was when some of the community members brought up launching and kind of publicly releasing the Prism V4. And some of the things that we were kind of waiting on was more liquidity and more markets on the trading side. And in order to get more liquidity and more markets, I mean, we could have created more markets really easily. It costs 1.9 Sol to create a new market, and also Prism V4 has a native market creator as well, which I think will be used by a lot of people, like for new token launches. But the key thing was liquidity. So they said that most of the market makers basically pretty much said that they were waiting for more volumes to pick up on OpenBook V2 and the integration sites to finish on, say, DEX aggregators like Prism and Jupiter. And from them, when more people was gonna start trading, they were gonna add more and more liquidity over time and kind of start quoting on more markets. And now we're kind of reaching that point, and we have new markets like Bonk USDC, Bonk Sol, and new Sol USDC market as well. If you go on Prism now, and after this kind of quick catch up, we're gonna see a bunch of new markets go live, like Nosana USDC, Render USDC, Gecko USDC, GooseFX USDC, and etc. So we should start seeing more volumes and activity around those, as well as those markets will be used by other dexes as well. For example, Mango. There's also Arcana, which most likely will also be using Prism V4 API. So API is basically one of the things that we did, which is basically a really simple to use web API that anyone can kind of use to place limit orders and basically do anything that you can do on Prism before, but you can do it with can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay.
you cut off.
Yeah, I was talking about API. Um, so anything that you can do with Prism v4, you can do with the API, which means that anyone can integrate Prism API and have order book trading functionality. Prism v4, actually, the UI, the platform uses our API already. So the good thing about that is that through the API, when you use the Prism API, since we automatically settle people's transactions, anyone who integrates Prism doesn't need to crank the transactions themselves, since we crank it for them. Um, and for that, we also collect fees. So that's good for Prism as well. So yeah, that's about the API. Yeah, Arcana should be using the Prism API. We were chatting with them and helped write a limit order placement kind of UI plugin that they're probably going to put into their website. Arcana is basically, if you don't know, more like an analytics platform for OpenBook. So if you've heard of OpenSerum, that was basically for OpenBook V1. That's used primarily by people who want to see analytics and who kind of do more advanced trading, and also for market makers as well. They use it a lot. And yeah, they're going to have Prism in the near future, most likely. So with that, yeah, and now let's kind of move on to bundles functionality for Prism. Symmetry recently launched V2, by the way, and points. So if you use Symmetry, you collect points. You also collect Switchboard X which is switchboard points, uh, which is pretty cool. And also, fun thing is that since Prism was one of the earliest users of symmetry from Prism pools, right now Prism pools is the number one at the symmetry leaderboards. So that's pretty cool. We'll kind of think of something that we can do to distribute rewards to Prism holders, either Prism holders or Prism stakers or something like that. We can kind of discuss it in the community and come up with something that works for everyone. So that's pretty cool. And as you know, Prism Pools is based on Symmetry. So it's built on top of Symmetry baskets. And one of the functionalities that we are integrating into Prism V4 is bundles. So basically that means that you can buy multiple tokens with one token really easily instead of kind of buying it separately using swap, and kind of diversify your portfolio really easily. But apart from that, that means you can also create your own portfolio and add a deposit fee if you want. And when other people kind of go to Prism, it's going to be a very simple kind of swap-like UI where you choose what bundle you want to buy and what token you want to buy it with, and then you buy it, and then if you're the creator of the bundle, then you get the deposit fee as well. So it's really interesting to try this out. There's an exchange called Cube. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but they have similar thing as well. So it's not a decentralized exchange per se. It's more like a hybrid exchange, like a centralized to decentralized hybrid. And they have this kind of bundles functionality where you can buy, let's say, 3 different tokens using USDC, for example. But what we can do is we can do the same thing on chain and in a permissionless way. So that's pretty cool. Um, and also the DCA is one of the things that we want to push it out really quickly so that you guys can test it out. And one of the things that we want to add to the DCA is the ability to DCA into bundles as well. So basically, by using Prism, if you use the bundles, you'll be able to collect symmetry and switchboard points as well. And if you create your own bundle, you get that, and you can also collect points by creating and kind of managing a basket or a bundle on Symmetry. So that's that. Someone asked about trading volumes and fees. Right now, the Prism Pools fee collector wallet holds about $11,000 in fees that was collected, that we're going to do a buyback with. And if you want to know the volumes and the fees that were collected, what you can check is it's all on chain, so we don't track it on a backend or a server. Since it's all on chain, and you can check out the Prism settler address, which basically settles people's transactions, and then maybe what we can do is create like a Dune dashboard which tracks that wallet, that address, and kind of sums up the transactions volumes and fees that were collected, so it's kind of transparent and anyone can see it in real time. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Okay. Something is kind of wrong with Discord, I guess. Okay. I guess it's back now.
Yeah, I think so.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for the updates. Now what we're gonna do is once the new markets are in and there's a little bit of liquidity in the order books, we're gonna announce the V4, and people like and other projects are gonna amplify it, like OpenBook and some other projects that are working on OpenBook V2. We're gonna be sharing that too. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this kind of quick update and overview. Let me check if there's something that I missed.
Yeah, people were wondering what is next for Prism after V4. What are we going to do long term, also in ways of marketing? So you just told us other projects are amplifying the message.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah, so right now what we want to do is we want to, from all these products that we're doing, like trading, the swap, the bundles, DCA, what we want to do is find a correct product market fit. So basically find a product that we launch which basically is used by a lot of users without any sort of like incentives, or monetary incentives in general, which means that if it's basically doing something that a lot of people find useful. Um, so we can kind of see which product sticks and which product has the most usage out of the product line that we release. Um, which I expect, for example, the trading side to pick up really well as OpenBook picks up more liquidity. There's going to be some more functionalities like the market making, like strategies that we talked about implementing as well. Um, DCA should be pretty good as well because it's gonna start with 0.05% fee instead of 0.1, so 0.10, which is cheaper than Jupiter's DCA. Um, so I think that's gonna get some users as well. Plus, there's discounts for Prism stakers, so there's utility in that. Um, and bundles is really interesting, and we can kind of see what kind of traction it picks up because in general, products like these, like the baskets and stuff like that, um, in theory, are really cool and is a really easy and good way to onboard people, for example, and to diversify. But in practice, we have to see what we can do to simplify the process or make it kind of compelling for people to try it out because most people have never used a product like that before. Um, so we need to kind of find a sweet spot where it's super easy to use and also very easy to understand for people, what the product does, and what it's for. And once people see the benefits, I think there's gonna be a lot of usage on that as well. Um, Melter asks, with all these development on V4, are we going to catch up this bull market? Um, I'm not sure what you mean by catching up. So since we're going to be launching the V4 really soon, max at the end of this week, it might launch tomorrow. Oh, yeah, in terms of release, it's pretty much ready. So there were some of the setbacks, like market makers not willing to fully quote on the markets. And we didn't want to release a product where it's kind of order books are empty because people are kind of when someone tries a new product and there's no liquidity, for example, they're not going to use it anymore. So since these things are already picking up, we can be sure to launch it, and we're going to be launching it at the max at the end of this week, but hopefully sooner. What we have to do basically is um, get the market makers to quote on those markets as well. In the meantime, you guys can kind of place your orders as well to fill in the order book, and then we drop the announcement. There's also going to be an announcement from the open book as well, which mentions Prism as the trading, basically the main trading point for open book V2.
Sounds good. I think that would be good for our first weekly update. I see some people typing. Yeah, let's keep them short, I think. And the questions posted now will bundle them for next week. And yeah, keep them coming.
Okay, let's just wait for them to put out the last questions. So I'm gonna quickly answer them. And so one thing that I mentioned in terms of hint is that since Symmetry released points in the original announcement, um, there was a mention of some projects and communities receiving um, boosts. So Prism, I can kind of say it here that Prism is going to be one of the projects that receive points boost. So if you haven't used Symmetry already, then you can try it out, and then since you're in the Prism Discord and a Prism user, you're going to receive boosts out automatically. But it's going to be announced pretty soon, so you can kind of wait for more details there. So Melter says, just thinking out loud, when we launched the Prism last bull market, we had almost 1 million volume of liquidity. Now the market is hype, and we have good product, so we need to catch up to see where we can reach in terms of adoption and price as well. Yeah, so there's also some of a small part that someone asked, I think, a while ago about Prism USDC liquidity. So right now, I think Prism USDC has like close to 150 or 200K of liquidity. We're gonna be adding about 250K more liquidity pretty soon. So that should increase the liquidity. But also one thing that I wanted to mention was keeping the Prism USDC liquidity at a really high point, like for example, a few $1 million when the market cap of Prism is, I think, I don't know how much it is right now, but $8 million or something like that. Uh, which that basically means that you have yeah, 9.8 million dollars. That basically means that you have like 1/10 of the market cap in a locked in the liquidity pool. I think it might be better to have a little bit lower liquidity to allow for some price discovery, since we're going to be releasing these products as well. So I don't know, maybe we can discuss it in the community. And yeah, so Andy also said the same similar thing. Any possibility to allocate a part of the monthly revenue of Prism to add liquidity to the Prism USDC pair? And the second one is any possibility to publish monthly statistics of Prism in Discord. For example, monthly revenues, Prism tokens bought back, added liquidity, anything that might be useful for understanding how things are going. Sure. So basically, the way it works right now with the buyback is it is kind of similar to adding liquidity into Prism USDC pair, because you're basically adding USDC and taking out Prism. So there's more USDC added to the Prism USDC pair pool, and more Prism taken out over time. But I guess what we can do is we can kind of discuss it within the community, if it's a good idea to kind of allocate portion of the revenue from the buyback to put it into Prism USDC pool. Or maybe what we can do is kind of do a 50% buyback and then use the 50% of USDC to put it with the Prism that we bought back into the liquidity pool or something like that. And also,
Let,
yes, for the yeah,
let's put it into proposals, see what the community
yeah,
thinks.
sure. And also, yes, on the second question as well. So, monthly statistics of Prism. Yeah, this is what I talked about creating like a Dune dashboard which tracks the on-chain addresses. Since for the fees that is being collected, it's really easy to kind of go through the on-chain addresses using like an analytics tool like Dune dashboard, to see the data pretty much in real time of what's happening, how much volumes are going on, how much fees are collected, and etc. So I haven't really used Dune much, so I have to check it out. But if anyone has any experience of creating dashboards on Dune or any other platform like Flipside, for example, yeah, that would be good. Miltar also asks, listing updates, is there any plans for discussions? Are we eligible to be listed in any exchanges? Yeah, in terms of eligibility, for sure we're eligible. After, I think it's gonna be a good idea to talk with the exchanges after V4 is released officially with all the products. I mean, not all the products, but main products at least. So, for example, trading, DCA, and bundles. Um, I think it's gonna be a good idea to talk with the exchanges also as more volume picks up. Um, yeah, one thing that I also said that I think Batman missed, it was before he started recording, was that has been a lot of activity going around Meta USDC market that we created on Prism. Um, there's a lot of orders in the order book and a lot of volumes that were going on too. I'm not exactly sure how much volume, but once we create the dashboard, I think it's gonna become pretty clear. There has been some MetaDAO contributors in the Prism Discord as well. I think they're going to be using Prism for setting up a multi-sig and kind of placing orders into OpenBook V2 using Prism or something like that. So I'm going to chat with them more and find out exactly what they're looking for. So that should be pretty good as well. So yeah, I think that's it. It was 30 minutes, but I think it was a pretty good first quick update. Not so quick, but quick still. Since most AMAs we do is like 2 hours or an hour and a half.
All right. Yeah. Keep posting those questions in States questions, and we'll see each other next week, I think.
Yep, sounds good.
All
All right,
right.
guys. Thanks for
Bye bye,
listening.
everyone.
Right, bye.